Are thoughts needed for problem solving, deliberation, reasoning, etc.? No, they're not. Now, I understand that when someone is mind identified, and I know this because I was mind identified up until I was 24, it seems impossible to reason without thoughts. It seems impossible to deliberate without the internal dialogue, talking to oneself. It just seems like that's what's actually doing it. That's what's driving the ship. But it's not. And really, the only way you will know this isn't through scientific study, and it's not through, certainly not through just more thinking. It's not through looking at studies and trying to figure out if there's free will or not free will. None of that's really going to help. The only way to really know this is to wake up. And with that initial shift, with the shift out of a nearly solid identity and a nearly solid identifying with thoughts, all of a sudden we see things very differently. We realize how much is actually simply happening, how much is just simply unfolding, spontaneously appearing, that the whole network of reasoning and meaning and purpose and deliberation and judgment and all of it is really just a bunch of ghosts. Those thoughts are ghosts. Now, what happens when we're mind identified is we take up a position that says, no, you do need thoughts to do all those things. And the problem is being identified with thoughts, the only way it's going to look correct to you is to conclude that thoughts are doing all the work. It's because thoughts actually feel so intimate to you. They feel so real to you. They feel like who you are and what you're doing, but they just aren't. And again, there's no way I can prove that to anybody without them waking up. As you start to wake up, it becomes more obvious. In deeper realization, you may or may not notice, well, you will definitely notice a more calm mental landscape. You will notice disidentification from thought. But you may or may not have thoughts essentially subside altogether. Some people do, some people don't. You don't have to have thoughts subside altogether, but the disidentification will be pretty thorough in deep realization, such that you realize the appearance of a thought is just that. It's simply an appearance. Cognition, reasoning, decision-making doesn't happen within thoughts. It doesn't happen as a result of thoughts. The thoughts are a reflection of those processes. That's simply obvious at this point. But again, without that insight, without that direct insight, you won't be able to get this. So I just wanted to point that out for anybody who's really trying to struggle or really struggling with figuring this out. But the thing I want to say is the point of this channel isn't to make a case for thoughts or no thoughts or the value or role of thoughts. It doesn't matter. The point of this channel is to point anyone who is interested in waking up to the means to do so, to their true nature. And the only concern I have there is that it's real for you, that it's a very real insight. It has to go beyond the concept. It has to go beyond the mind. It has to go beyond thought. The mind in the sort of typical way we use the term as a collection of thoughts. So that's what we're doing here. So from that standpoint, it's a moot point. You don't have to figure anything out about thoughts. You don't have to decide anything. You don't have to come to any conclusion about whether thoughts are important or not important, or whether they are what actually helps you make decisions and so forth. You don't need to worry about any of that. Just do the work, do the practice, do the inquiry. If you are really interested in waking up. If you're not sure if you're interested in waking up, start with Basics of Awakening playlist. Move on to the Awakening Approaches playlist. And there you will find some specific pointers. And hopefully by then you're starting to really get what I mean when I talk about orienting toward truth, orienting toward the mystery, orienting toward a question like, who am I or what am I? Or orienting in a one-pointed approach. Also, if anyone doesn't already know, I have a book about this, and this whole channel was actually started to promote the book or market the book. So check out my book, Awake, It's Your Turn, and that'll probably help as well. But I just wanted to kind of clear that up.